sure that this recording goes. I always put it up on YouTube for anyone who wants to repeat the practice, or for anyone who can't. Know that in most cases you can rely upon the class being on YouTube. So good morning, everyone. My name is Erin. For anyone who's new to joining us, I own a little business here in Northern Virginia called Eat Yoga Drink, where I lead yoga and mindfulness experiences, typically in non-traditional spaces. So fun places like breweries and wineries, and when the world's open, rooftops and pool decks and all kinds of great spaces. So, but I'm delighted to be leading you from my deck again today. The skies have cleared and all these storms made way for a cooler morning. And that's a nice metaphor for sort of what we're focusing on today, which is clearing out the heaviness of unpleasant or quote unquote negative thoughts. Know that every time you have a thought, it triggers an emotion. So every time you harbor and allow a negative thought to take up a lot of space in your mind, it triggers an accompanying emotion of discomfort or fear or anxiety or sorrow or shame or guilt or something that usually leaves you feeling pretty icky. And so this practice is intended to have you confront those thought habits, notice their presence, notice their recurrence, and just do your best to approach them with curiosity, sort of redefining them, taking away the label of negative, and just getting curious about why they keep arriving in your life and what can you do actively or proactively, energetically to help change your way of thinking so that you carve a path into a space that's more, enlightening, more entertaining, just a little less heavy. And so that's all up to you. We have that power. And I'm going to, every day that I am with you, remind you that you do have that power. And hopefully the practices that we do together are empowering so you can continue to practice working your way toward a better way of thinking, a way of thinking that is a little more easeful. So starting in a seated position, maybe you start to roll the shoulders a little bit, maybe roll into the neck. We're going to be doing a little bit of work into the neck and shoulders today because that's a place where a lot of people hold discomfort and tension. So we're going to give some attention to that area of the body. So maybe just notice how it's feeling this morning. And then once you've moved a little bit, see if you can invite yourself into stillness, into the Sukhasana. Sukha means ease. So make sure that the seat feels sustainable and not strained in any way. If it's challenging, then you can extend your legs or bend your knees and sit like this, whatever feels right to you. If you have a block or a little towel or something, maybe you're sitting up, lifting the hips to offer some release through the hip flexors. If you're comfortable closing the eyes, bring the eyelids to rest so that you can start to remove the visual distractions and start to tune in, seeing yourself a little more clearly. Soften the jaw and the shoulders. Invite the arms to rest heavily by your side. We're going to do a little exercise called a finger breath. So flip your palms over so that they're facing the sky. Just wiggle the fingers a little bit. This is a breathing exercise that I love to share with people, particularly those who are fidgety. It's a really nice way to connect with the sensation of the breath and this soft sensation of the fingers connecting. And if this feels uncomfortable for you, I worked with a client yesterday who said he didn't like this. This didn't feel good to him. And I said, good, let's toss it out the window. That's why we have so many practices to draw upon. Some things going to feel right and some things won't. And so let's try this one on for size to see how it suits you. The way this exercise works is we're going to first just get in touch with your natural breathing pattern. So just notice how the breath feels coming in and out of the body. Notice any places where it may feel stuck. Maybe it's getting hooked or jagged in some place in the belly or the ribs. Maybe you're finding it difficult to breathe all the way up into the chest. And then we want to start trying to find some evenness, that Samavriti breath, so that the inhales and the exhales begin to equalize. Each of them taking form in its fullest iteration. So you're breathing in the biggest breath, and you're breathing out the fullest release. And so we begin by cultivating this breath because the breath is really what drives this exercise. The fingers moving are just going at the pace of the breath rather than the other way around. So don't feel rushed as you move the fingers. And the way this works is the thumb will begin at the base of the pinky. And as you inhale, the thumb will travel to the very tip of the pinky. Make sure you've taken all the breath in you're capable of taking in right now. Pause at the top, just give a little squeeze, fingertip to fingertip. And as you're ready to exhale, slowly let that thumb descend to the base of the pinky. And then when you're ready to begin the next breath, slide the thumb to the base of the ring finger, inhaling to the tip of the finger, exhaling, letting the thumb descend back to the base. A little pause at the bottom as the thumb moves to the base of the center finger. Inhaling to the tip, exhaling to the bottom. And you get this, how this goes. You go next to the index finger, and then you'll move your way back towards your pinky. And I'm just going to be quiet now as I let you explore this very mindful, very centering, very grounding finger breathing exercise. Remember to choreograph the fingers with the breath. The breath sets the pace. Start working your way back towards your pinky. Once you've arrived there, release the palms back down toward your thighs, savoring that grounding sensation. I'll read to you a quote from Pema Chodron. It's one I've shared with you before, back in March. Or I don't know, maybe it was more recent than that. The fundamental question isn't whether or not we'll encounter suffering. We all do. It's how we work with the suffering so it leads to awakening the heart and goes beyond habitual views and actions that perpetuate the suffering. So when you notice that it arises, opening up with curiosity, opening your heart, allowing it in for a moment, just asking yourself some gentle questions about why you feel the suffering. And then finding yourself returning to neutral, unhinging and unhooking from the unpleasantness and from the associated discomfort and emotional discomfort that may arise. Just bringing yourself into a neutral space, maybe inviting a smile on your face. Sort of a way to trick the brain, but it works. Bringing something to mind that you feel is a blessing in your life. And use this strategy each time during the practice and beyond the mat today when you notice the presence of that discomfort. Find a way to unhook yourself by smiling and inviting gratitude into your heart so that it's not consuming you or overwhelming you. Let's take a big breath in together and let that breath go. Let's roll over to a table position so we can begin to move a little bit. Make sure that y'all can see me. There we go. Once you arrive in your table position, notice if you need a little extra padding under the knees. You can always double up the mat from the middle, creating a little cushion, or bring a blanket or a towel or something under the knees, and just move. Maybe close the eyes, trusting the wisdom of the body, exploring the somatic sense. Maybe you shift back and forth a little bit, dipping the hips, opening the heart. You don't have to think about it, just do it, just be. Take 4 more breaths. And then sink your hips back to your heels, finding a child's pose. Extend your arms out in front of you. Let the crown of the head reach forward as the forehead, the Ajna chakra reaches down toward the earth. Walk the hands a little further away from you and dip down through the heart. Hollow out through the armpits a little bit. And then take the shoulder blades and slide them down away from the ears. Take a big breath in. And let a breath go. Turn your head to the right, bringing your left ear down to the earth. And place your left hand gently on the head. Just give a little stretch into the neck. And then we're going to release the hand, come back to center for a moment. Always finding neutral before we take it to the other side. So turn the head to the left, bringing the right ear down, right hand upon the head, a little gentle pressure to deepen the stretch. And then let it go. And remember that this child's pose welcomes you anytime throughout the practice when you need a little rest, a little reset. Maybe you notice yourself becoming overwhelmed by heat in the body or heat in the mind, and it's a good place to come back to reinvigorate that smile. On the next inhale, rise back up to your table position and start to find some cat and cow shapes. Inhaling into your cow pose as you dip the belly down, tilt the pelvis back, lift the heart, and exhale, press the earth away. Really feel the draw from the lower abs as the navel pulls up toward the spine and the back rounds. Inhale forward. Let the gaze float up and then back down toward the navel, finding sort of a gaze arc. Like that beautiful rainbow that graced our sky yesterday between the storms. For those of you here in Northern Virginia, 2 more. Inhale and exhale. And last one, big breath in. Beautiful. Come back into a nice neutral table Extend, try to keep the weight even between the hands and the knees, and then extend your right leg back behind you, flexing the foot. So notice when you flex the foot and just bring a little inward spiral of the thigh, the hip, you feel a little bit more engagement. And then cross that right leg over to the left and walk your left hand out as far as you're comfortable. Gaze over the left shoulder, getting a really nice stretch into the right side body and that right hip. Breathe in, breathe out. And then drop your right knee down to the earth. Walk your hands back. We're just going to, for a moment, I promise, it's a little teaser, but we'll come back to this. Just come into a cow face legs. Bring your hands behind your head and just see if you can open the heart a little bit. Just sit up nice and tall. Breathe in. Breathe out. And let go of those hands. Bring them back to the earth. Come back into that kneeling position. Walk the hands under the shoulders, right leg back behind you, and then step the right foot between the hands. Find a low lunge. As you inhale, sweep up. We're going to interlace fingers and crescent over to the right side. So notice that that right knee wants to stabilize and drop into the center. Really squeeze into the glutes and the thigh of that right side, grounding down through the right big toe. Breathe in. Breathe out. Beautiful. Come back to center. Hands to the heart. We're going to extend forward and twist to the right. And if you want, you can tuck the left toes, lift the left knee, and power up this twisted lunge. Breathe and twist. One more breath and twist. Nice. If the knee is lifted, lower it. Release the hands back down to the earth, right leg back behind you, big circles into the right hip. Trying not to tilt the weight over to the left side. Try to keep it even, so that requires core engagement. And then back into your table position. 2 more cow and cats, maybe your funky cat and cow, or you circle or sway the hips a little bit as you articulate into the spine. And then back to your table position. As you inhale, extend left leg back, flex the foot. Bring that inward spiral of the thighs. You're going to need that when we arrive at downward facing dog. And then cross the left over the right, looking over your shoulder at your toes, your pretty, pretty toes. Right hand reaches out to the side to go a little bit deeper into the stretch. Invite those deep breaths into the body. And then release that left knee down to the earth. Walk the hands back. Come on into a little cow face pose. Notice if that alone stimulated any negative thoughts. Not everyone loves a cow face pose, but at least it gives us a chance to just take an inventory of how the hips are feeling. And there's always modification. You can stay right here with the knees crossed. All right. Take a big breath in, hands behind the head. Once again, open up the heart. Feel the shoulder blades draw together in the back. Feel the crown of the head lifting toward the sky. One more breath. And we're going to let it go. Walk those hands back to the front. Extend that left leg back behind. And then draw the foot between the hands, coming into your low lunge. Sweep up. Interlace hands. Flip the palms, crescent to the left side. Once again, feel where you're rooted. Feel your center. Feel the engagement that's required to help the hip and the left leg stabilize. Beautiful. Come back to center, hands to heart. Extend forward. Take your twist to the left, hooking the right elbow, and maybe lifting that right knee. You get to choose how you want to practice today and every day. So play around with all the different options. Have some fun. Breathe. One more breath. Beautiful. Drop the right knee. Bring the hands down to the earth. Left leg back behind you. Big circles into the left hip. We have worked all the directions of the spine. We've started to open up our joints a little bit. Bring the knees back. We're going to extend one leg, then the other, finding high plank. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, bend the elbows, lowering the body all the way down. Come all the way down, all the way down. We're going to interlace hands behind the head. Once again, gaze straight down at the mat and try to press the head into the hands as the hands press down onto the head. Just a little strengthening to the neck. Spread the elbows, lift the heart. Little mini back bend. You can make this big of a back bend as you want, or you can keep it gentle. Really looking to strengthen the cervical spine here. The muscles that support it. One more breath. Beautiful. Bring your hands down to the rib cage. Draw the elbows together. Flex the feet. See if you can press yourself back up to a high plank. Then hips rise to downward facing dog. And just imagine that same foot flexing, thigh inward rotation that you found when we were on the knees. Bringing a little bit of effort into this shape. Letting the breath fill it with ease at the same time. Can you find, once again, space where the shoulder blades slide down the back, away from the ears? Big breath in. Full breath out. Woo, it always gets me when I go upside down. Excuse me. All right, from here, look between the thumbs. Start to walk the hands to your feet. No, that's not what I meant. Walk your feet to your hands. Sorry about that. Top of the mat, forward fold. Rise all the way up. Take a big full body stretch. Let the gaze float up to the clouds. And exhale, bow down. Let the whole breath go. Find a halfway lift. Hands to shins or to the earth or to blocks. Nice flat back. And let it go, folding once again. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, root down, rise up. Exhale, let it all go. Halfway lift. Give a nice long spine, flat back. And then plant the hands, step back into your high plank. From your high plank, drop down onto your left forearm. Just come down for a moment. Yep, awkward. That's the purpose. Gets your attention. It breaks out of your thought habits. Trying something new awakens you to this moment. Just coming here for a moment. And then press back into the right palm. Lift back up to your high plank. We're going to take that on the other side. Just come down onto your right forearm. Try to keep the hips level so you're not spinning into a side plank. Engage the legs. Engage your breath. One more breath. And then press back up into high plank. We're going to shift forward on the toes. Feel free to drop the knees if the body's calling for it. Bend the elbows lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, lift the heart. Find your baby or full cobra bhujangasana. Back to your downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Let that breath go. One more big breath. And release. Look to the front. Step, float, hop, arrive, feet to hands. Rise up. We're going to take a few sun salutations. Exhale, lower. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or hop back. If you're hopping back, land with the elbows soft and bent. High to low plank. Attention to those elbows. Open up the heart. Maybe the thighs lift, tops of the feet engage. To upward facing dog. Back to downward facing dog. So many options. It's like a buffet. You get to pick what you want to eat today, what you want to piece together in your practice to make it feel just right for whatever it is you need. Look to the front of the mat, arrive, feet to hands, rise. Exhale, bow, let it all go. start fresh, inhaling a new breath, and plant the hands and travel through your flow. Whatever serves you best. Maybe today is not a day that you are enjoying those planks or those chaturangas. Maybe you want to go right to down dog, or maybe you want to transition through a child's pose. Breathe in and breathe out. Beautiful. Look to the front of the mat, step or hop, rise all the way up. Hands to the heart this time, reconnecting with your awareness of your body, your presence. Then we're going to step the left foot back, coming into a high crescent lunge. So once again, feel rooted through that right foot, particularly through the big toe. Feel nice engagement into the thigh and the glute of the right side, so the hip is spinning outwards. My head cut off. I'm like all about camera issues today, people. I don't know. If you can't ever see me, let me know. All right, there we go. High crescent lunge. Take a big breath in. Hands to the heart. We're going to extend forward and once again find our twisted lunge. So hook the left elbow outside the right knee. See if you've created a little bit more space in the spine here. Take a big breath. And then on the next breath, we're going to step the left foot forward, coming into a twisted chair pose. So don't lose the integrity of the twist when you're thinking about getting the hips squared. That left knee is automatically going to want to push out beyond. So draw the left hip back into the socket. Breathe in. Breathe out. We're going to unwind the twist, rise all the way up, and then come back into a traditional chair pose. Yep, that's right. We're burning out some of that energy today. Fierce pose. Become fierce, right? Where can you invite that strength, that courage to face the discomfort, to get curious about it, to let it go. Beautiful. Rise all the way up, hands at the heart. We're going to step the right foot back, coming into high crescent on the other side. Inhale, reach forward, twist to the left. Big breath in. Full breath out. One more breath. Step the right foot to meet the left. Twisted chair. Breathe into the challenge. Squeeze those thighs together. Look over the left shoulder. One more breath. Beautiful. Release and rise up. Back into chair. Just a little bit more burn here. Hips are back and low. You've got this. One more breath. And fold. Halfway lift. Take a flow. Stepping, hopping. Maybe you're jumping. Maybe you're floating. Arriving in down dog when you're ready. When the breath takes you there. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, right leg to the sky. Heel straight up. Exhale, right foot behind the right wrist. Warrior one. We're going to come on up, feeling that sensation of rooting. Invite that energy into the legs. Hips are squared. Arms are strong. Heart is open. Take a big breath in. Beautiful. And then bring the hands to interlace behind the back. Squeeze. Pressing the shoulder blades together as the heart lifts. Then find your humble warrior. Inviting the shoulder toward the knee. Feel a slight drawing forward of the left hip. Release of the neck. Take another breath. And then stay folded, but take your hands and offer a little traction into your neck. So just take your hands and create a little, like a little diamond shape. And draw from the base of the skull, the crown of the head down toward the earth.
Feel the shoulders press away from the ears still. Just a little cervical spine traction here. Feels kind of nice. You could also massage your neck if that feels better to you. Take another breath. Beautiful. We're going to release our hands. We're going to rise all the way up. And then exhale, float the hands back down, step back high to low plank. Finding strength in breath. Trusting the body. I'm going to inhale, left heel high to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, left foot behind the left wrist, settling the feet into your warrior one shape and rising when it feels right. Beautiful. Bring the hands to weave in a different pattern behind the back. Maybe even do a reverse namaste or taking opposite elbows. Big breath in, feel the heart expand. Full breath out, bowing down in humility into this shape. Finding gratitude for this moment. Soften the jaw. I like to flutter the lips a little bit. My mouth tends to get tight. That also always makes me smile, so there's nothing wrong with that. And then release the bind, giving the head a little bit of traction once again, just putting a little bit of weight, drawing some space between the vertebrae of the cervical spine, or a massage, just something loving, some kind of loving touch. And then release the hands down. Inhale, sweep all the way back. Exhale, float back. Connect with the earth, taking your flow. Beautiful. On the inhale, look to the front of the mat, bend the knees, feet to hands. Rise up. Sink in, chair pose once again. Big breath in. Go a little deeper. And then lift your left foot. Try to balance on your right foot for just a moment. And then step the left foot back, coming back to your high crescent lunge. Then open up to warrior two. This is where we invite external rotation into the hips. We invite lengthening into the spine. Feel rooted through the pelvis. Strong gaze over the top of the right hand. And invite the shoulders to melt and soften a little bit. Try to invite the corners of the lips to turn up. Whether you're feeling it or not, smile. It's hard to hold unpleasant energy in the body when the face is smiling. It's triggering and it works. Big breath in. Full breath out. We're going to flip that right palm up and overhead, reversing the warrior. And then come into an extended side angle. Take your left hand on the edge of the head, just above the left ear, and press the head into the hand as the hand presses into the head. So now we're strengthening the sides of the neck. So we're still thinking about opening up that left hip and through the ribs so the side body gets a stretch. This neck stretch is a little added bonus, neck strengthening. Take one more breath. And then release the hand, rise back up to your warrior two. We're going to straighten the arms and legs, coming back into that power pose. And then exhale, fold. Coming into our wide-legged forward fold. We're working on strengthening the neck. It also helps to provide a nice cervical base or cervical strengthening for headstand. So if anyone's working on their tripod headstand here, I'm just going to walk you through it a little bit. And if that's not something you're working on, just take advantage of the benefits of this inversion for now. If you'd like to play around with your headstand, you're going to bring the crown of the head and make sure that you're on the crown, not your forehead. Crown of the head to the earth. And just start to rock a little bit. Rock a little bit, lifting the heels, rocking the weight into the balls of the feet. Stabilize through your palms, bending the elbows, getting those strong arms to help support you so you're not dumping into the cervical spine. And then maybe just start to lift the toes a little bit with the legs split. Doesn't have to be anything really dramatic or drastic. Just giving yourself a chance to lift the toes a little bit. We'll do it on the other side too. So maybe that's the side that you'll lift. Some people like here to come into a tripod where you bring the knees to the triceps, like you're doing a crow pose with the crown of the head connected. That's also another option. But wherever you are, keep thinking about that strong neck that we've created and lift up and away from the earth so you're not collapsing. Just take a few more breaths, playing around. And then if the feet are lifted, land them. From your forward fold, start to walk the hands over, finding your low lunge. Once again, framing the right foot. Step the right foot back, high plank. From high plank, we're going to come down to a forearm plank. And from forearm plank, we're going to drop the knees and thighs, untuck the toes, coming into a Sphinx pose. So from your Sphinx pose, we're going to extend the left arm and lift up. So you're still on the right forearm. We're just extending the left arm, lifting the chest just a little bit more. Draw the heart forward. Drop this left shoulder down so it's not hunched up toward the ear. Pressing the hips and the thighs down and slightly forward. And then bring the left forearm back. Extend the right arm. So you're in a half Sphinx, half seal. You can even put it out to the side. Notice if that brings any additional sensation into the back. Giving a nice stretch to the thoracic spine here. One more breath. And then bring both forearms back, or curl the toes rather. Press into your forearm plank. We're going to take a few breaths here. Keep pressing the earth away from you. This is also called dolphin plank. We'll visit dolphin in a moment. And then from here, lift your hips up high and then press up to your palms. Make your way to downward facing dog. Making circles into the neck, just noticing how everything's feeling. Beautiful. Look to the front of the mat, step or hop, jump, float, however you like to arrive, feet to hands. We're going to sweep up, sinking back into chair pose, inviting the tailbone nice and low, lengthening through the back. Yes, you guys look so strong. Keep sending the hips back toward the heels. Yes. And then we're going to step the right foot back, finding high crescent lunge, and then open up into warrior two. So maybe you flip the palms up and down, just giving a little softness into the shoulders. Or maybe your focus is your hips, squeezing into the glutes so they naturally externally rotate. And we're going to flip that left palm up and overhead, opening up through the spine, the ribs. And then come into extended side angle. Bring your right hand just above the ear, so the heel of the hand kisses the top of the ear. And actively press head into hand as you press down through the palm. All the while you're lengthening through the side body, stabilizing through the hips. So this requires a lot of mindful breathing. Nice. Take another breath. Beautiful. Release your hand. Rise back up. Straighten both arms, both legs. And we're going to return into that wide-legged forward fold. Hello. Maybe now you want to play around a little bit with widening the stance, coming back into playing around with your tripod headstand. And again, if that's something that you know is not safe for you to practice, you can just come into any variation of a fold. You can invite twist, maybe some skandasana, side lunges, or else just have some fun. Trust yourself, shifting into the crown of the head, pressing down into the palms, and really actively engage into the earth. So you feel the shoulders lifting up and away. Make sure you're breathing. If it becomes challenging for you to breathe while you're upside down, it's good to come out of it. And once you're lifted, really squeeze the thighs together, point the toes up to the sky, lift up and away from the earth. You can stay there as long as you'd like. And when you're ready to come out of it, slowly, intentionally splitting and dismounting, just as you got up into it. Maybe this head needs a little bit more traction or massaging. And then release down if you're still floating. Walk your hands around to frame the left foot. We're going to step back into high plank. From high plank, we're going to come down onto our forearms yet again. So really feel the belly drawing up toward the spine, that engagement of the lower abs, that Uddiyana Bandha energy. And then from our dolphin plank, walking the toes toward the nose, coming up with our hips lifted over the shoulders into our dolphin pose. So there's a lot of shoulder strengthening happening here. And maybe you're working on your forearm stand. And if you're lucky enough to be by a wall, and I see Brielle kicking up. Yeah, whoever wants to play around. And again, it's just about trusting yourself, right? Knowing your limits, making sure the limits truly are real, not imposed by ego. And maybe if you're not comfortable doing forearm stand, and that's okay, we have no expectations in our practice, maybe you want to drop the crown of the head back down to the earth, interlace the fingers, creating a little basket, coming into a classical headstand. Classical headstand. I like to scissor the legs, lifting one at a time. And if you're taking a classical headstand, the forearms are deeply rooted into the earth. Your head is barely touching the ground. Thighs are engaged, glutes are engaged. And remember, it's all optional. Once you are done playing, we're going to come back into a child's pose. So you get to choose whether the knees are narrow or the knees are wide. Just checking back in with yourself. As I read to you something beautiful from Morgan Harper Nichols. As you start to ascend, you feel the force of heavy winds, and for the first time, you wonder if you should give up, turn around, go back down the mountain and find a smaller hill to climb. This is a broken place, and you are treading on splintered ground, trying to make sense of your progress and where you thought you'd be by now. And what was familiar is now too distant. And what was unknown is now too close. You are wondering what to keep and what to let go. But now that you're here, let it be. Slow down and let it be. Find new rhythms in the silence to cling to lasting peace, knowing well within your soul, you will have the strength you need to make it through these unknowns. So it's not about whether or not we'll encounter the challenges, the difficulties in our life. It is guaranteed that you will. Allow it to awaken your awareness and awaken your heart so that you can find ease as you navigate your way through this space into something a little lighter, a little more filled with ease. Take another big breath in your child's pose and let the breath go. Beautiful. From here, we're going to come into a kneeling position. And if you have a block, maybe you'd like to use it just to sit in a hero's pose for a moment. Sitting up nice and tall. Feel where you're rooted into the earth. So true heroes, your heels would be on either side of the hips, but it's okay to sit on the heels. And it's okay to use as many blocks as you want or need to lift the body to make it feel accessible for you. So don't be shy. Use what you have. So feel rooted and lift up nice and tall. We're going to send that right arm up to the sky. Take it over to the left side of the head and draw the right ear to the right shoulder. Press your left hand down toward the earth. So continue to find space, sitting up tall, space to breathe. Take another breath here. And then we're going to release the right hand down, just bringing the spine back into neutral. And we'll do that on the other side. Left hand to the right side of the head, left ear to left shoulder. The right palm presses down as the right shoulder releases. Letting the breath remind you of where you are, so your mind stays here. And we come back into center. This time we're going to take both of the heels of the hands and press them up against your forehead on either side of your ajna, your third eye. Sitting up nice and tall, press the forehead into the hands, press the hands back toward the head. Try not to clench the jaw. Soften the throat so the breath can travel. One more breath. And then we're going to bring the hands behind the head, clasping the fingers. And once again, creating a little basket for the head. Press the head back as you draw the palms forward, keeping the elbows wide. Keeping the breath steady. Feel that oppositional force, creating strength in the neck. And then release the hands. Start to bring big circles into the neck, honoring your range of motion, helping you see a broader perspective in your day today. Look around, widen your periphery, invite in new perspectives, move in the other direction. Beautiful. We're going to come up onto those knees and take a series of back bending in our camel pose. If you have the blocks there, they'll serve a nice purpose. So you can just put them right next to your ankles or put one in between your ankles. We're going to start with a more gentle variation. You can actually take the other one if you have another block and squeeze it between your thighs to remind you of that inward spiral that we've been working on today. Squeezing, which helps support your lower back. So we begin by bringing the palms, the heel of the hand into the lower back. right next to the sacrum on either side, and draw the elbows together. Take that energy from the knees, thighs, hips, lift up and away from the earth, and press the hips forward, floating the heart to the sky. So hopefully your neck is feeling comfortable at this point to let the head sort of fall back. It is very much inviting vulnerability. So find trust, patience. Make sure the breath remains steady and full. Feel the way the ribcage floats open and contracts with the breath. One more breath. Beautiful. Start to bring the spine back into neutral. You guys looked really good. That was nice, safe alignment. Hands can come down to the earth, finding a cat pose, rounding the spine, hollowing out the armpits once again, tucking the chin to the chest. And then let's rise back up, taking another camel. So begin by lifting and lengthening the spine. This time, if you'd like, you're welcome to take the same supported camel, or you can go a little bit deeper by flexing the feet, lifting the heels, and then the webbing of the hand between the finger, the thumb and the forefinger, index finger comes right to the heel, or to the block. If you have blocks, you can use those. And just kind of swim your way back, mindfully making your way into this shape. Try not to sacrifice the integrity of this opening of the heart, this hip stretch. Once you arrive there, just engaging a little bit more into the shoulder blades, trusting the breath as the head tips back. You can even open the mouth and let out some cleansing lion's breath, washing over that throat chakra. Maybe there's some truths that you need to confront. This might be a way to remove obstacles and empower you to find that conversation today. One more breath. Beautiful. Very slowly drop chin to chest, hands to the lower back to support coming out of this shape. Sit the hips back onto the heels. Remove the blocks with the knees narrow. Come back into another child's pose. Arms can be out in front of you extended or behind you with the palms down for grounding. Maybe you flip the palms back up and do another round of finger breathing. Honoring this moment of stillness, sanctity. And then we're all going to come onto our backs. So take your time, no rush. Rolling down, drawing the knees in with the hands wrapped around the shins. Give yourself loving massage. Feels really nice after those Ustrasana shapes, camel pose. And you're welcome to explore any other shapes that the body needs right now. Or else we're going to melt right into our final rest. Right into that space where there's nowhere to be and nothing else to do but to simply exist. So when you're ready, let the body unfurl. Invite space in the hips by opening the legs. Welcome the palms to greet the sky. Relax the shoulders. Just do a little body scan to make sure that you're not holding any contractions in the body anywhere. You feel soft and supported. Let's take a shared breath together, that shared commitment to release. Big breath in, open the mouth, forcefully sighing away the unpleasant energy, giving way to stillness and peace. This is life. You have been pulled into the fierce winds, carrying you over the barren hills, leaving you bruised on the shores of this rocky coast. Your eyes have been reopened. This life is broken. Come now. Come falling on your knees on this bed of sand where the stones have washed away and the softened earth awaits. Take all the time you need to be undone and breathe. More beautiful words from Morgan Harper Nichols. Bring a smile to your face. Remember that every thought triggers an emotion. And it's your choice what you get to hold in your mind in those thoughts. And so let the smile be the beginning of a beautiful habit of pleasant thoughts today. Arriving in a space that is joyful and easeful and peaceful for you. Start to breathe a little deeper into the body, widening that smile. Start to move the body, letting that joyful energy filter into every cell of your body. Roll onto one side. This position of new beginnings. It's filled with so much potential. Anything is possible for you. Slowly begin to rise up to a comfortable seat. Inviting the hands together, either pressing onto the heart, that loving, soothing touch, or hands at the heart. Thank you so much for your presence. I am so incredibly grateful. I hope you all know that this means so much to me. And I know that I've heard through your your texts and your notes that you get a lot out of this practice as well. But I don't want you to underestimate how valuable this is to all of us together. So thank you so much. I'm grateful to you, and know that the love and the light that radiates within me sees and honors the beautiful light that radiates within you as well. Namaste.